How's it going, guys? Chris French here. Going to be making for you guys a Tableau beginner project. Like I said, this is going to be geared towards people who are trying to get started in Tableau. Maybe you're not having the confidence, maybe not the hands-on experience yet with some of the tools with Tableau. But I really think after this little guided project of mine, you'll be able to learn great aspects of Tableau and be able to improve upon them in your next project. So looking here, I'm going to upload the data set to Tableau. And this is a fairly simple data set. There's approximately only 250 rows in it. It's a sample data set of a food store throughout the United States in the year of 2020. So looking at this data just really quickly, some key aspects like order date, the month, region, city, category, product, tons of different categories we use. But the most important thing when it comes to making these projects is looking at this data and what do we really need to get out of it? What are the really key aspects that stick out? And with this, there's many different dashboards that be created. We could focus on the price, talk about the revenue. But looking here, I have basically 5 questions that we're going to try to answer in our dashboard. So with the 5 questions being, what were the total sales in 2020? How many total items were sold? What were the sales by month? Did we notice any major differences? How did each store perform? And how did the salespeople perform? So like I said, the whole point of this dashboard is to answer these 5 questions as simple as possible. We're not trying to make it any harder than it has to be on the end user. So with that in mind, let's get going. So pulling up Tableau, I'm then going to go full screen here. Perfect. So the first thing we want to solve right away is what was the total sales of the company? So going to sheet 1, I'm going to name that total sales. And for that, looking at what I have over to the left is we have categories, city, month, a ton. So thinking though, total sales. So thinking now I have to find the sum of the total sales. And looking at that, total price sticks out. So I'm going to drag that over to the text column for sum of total price, and we get our sum of 17,989. However, we're trying to show it off as sales, and with sales comes money, currency. So we don't want to leave it as it is right here. We want to put it in the correct format. So we're going to go to Format. We're going to put that right into standard currency, and we get our final answer. Because if you leave it in the regular number format, as you saw, it rounded it. It didn't leave the 66 cents at the end. It rounded up to 9.89. But doing it this way, we get the exact total. Like I said, we don't want to really round anything. We want to get the exact total for the dashboard. So that's it for the total sales. There's nothing else we want to do right now. We have what we need. Let's continue on to items sold. So we're going to do this. And we're thinking that, okay, so total sales, we found the sum of the total price. Now we're thinking, okay, so items sold, once again, we have to find the sum of something. And quantity definitely sticks out as the one we're looking for. So same thing, and perfect right there. So for the items sold was 8,325. Once again, nothing we really have to do here. We have what we need. There's nothing else we have to do for items sold. So right away, we have our 2 KPIs we're looking for. We have the total sales and the items sold. So right away, we're on to a pretty decent start. So the next one that we had to look for was they want to see what the sales were by the city. So we're going to make our next sheet, sales by city. The same kind of thing. So looking at this, we're trying to think, okay, so for city, obviously we're going to need that. And then total price, we're going to need that as well. So I want city there. Then total price here. Perfect. Now, having it like this, I don't want them being the same color. I do want each city have their own distinct color, just so I can be able to tell them apart, and also the end user could definitely tell them apart. What I want to do first, I want to put them in order from highest to lowest, perfect. And then same thing. If you look right away, obviously, if you look at it right away with your eyes, you see 500,000 total price. Right away it makes sense. But once again, these numbers are not in currency, so we got to make sure. Go to format, put that into currency. It's our axis. There you go, and good. So now everything's all set in an appropriate fashion. And then also with this label says total price, that doesn't make sense. That will not be accurate. So same thing, want to edit that. We're going to call this just total sales, since that is what we're looking for. Perfect. Good. So that's good. And then let's throw some color. So what we're going to do here, right, we want each of the city having their own distinct color. So we're going to do that. We're going to take city, put that into color, and there we go. So now as I was looking, each city has their own color. Boston being blue, New York red, Los Angeles orange, and San Diego little teal color. So that's what it is for the graph. And once again, with this city here, we can take that away because we're showing off. We already know that the sales are by the city, so we don't need that. And that's one thing aspect you want to look for is seeing what's necessary and what's not. What can we take out? What should we leave in? So that looks good so far for the city. Everything looks good to me. So once again, the next one was the sales people. Oh, salesperson. We call that nice and simple. So once again, we're trying to see how each of the salespeople did based on the sales they brought in. So it can be very similar. We're going to be taking, as you saw here, we did the total price turning into that by city. It's going to be very, very similar to salespeople. So we're going to do that. We'll go here. And there we go. Very similar format. Each of the salespeople, we have 7 people here with the amount of revenue they brought in. It'd be a very similar thing. As we see here, total price, we're going to change that. We're going to change the number here to currency, and we're going to get rid of the label there since we know what we're going to be talking about. So once again, very, very similar format, but we're going to do it together. And the one thing you're going to notice when it comes to Tableau is when you see one thing off, you're naturally going to want to keep making changes, and that's going to happen, especially when you start. You always want to keep changing things, want to look this way, that way. My advice is really just keep it simple in the beginning. No need to go absolute crazy for your first project. You do want to show you're able to do different aspects of Tableau, more of the basic parts, like different graphs, showing off the labels correctly, but really just trying to make sure you're analyzing correctly and you're showing the right thinking and how you're showing off that data is really what comes more important. So same thing, I want this being the color. Now, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I don't want 7 different colors. I don't want anything looking like this. And I don't want interfering with anything from here. So I want to pick a color that's a little different than these 4. I want to show off here. But I do want to show it based off, let's say a person made more money will have a darker color and it gets lighter as it goes down because we kind of want to see the difference of, okay, who made the most and who made the least. We kind of want to get a decent idea over that. So in order to do that, we're going to go to the color. Go to edit the color. And let's go green. So we're talking money here. Let's see what green looks like. I don't really like that a ton. I don't like that a ton. How about, let's see here. let's see. That's right here. It's giving different shades of green. However, it's not exactly the way we want to look. We want to be darker down to lower. So let's go here. Format. Let's go here. Here. Let's go. Why is it doing that? Oh, that's right. See, that's why we do it like this. That's why I don't edit this. There we go. As you see right there, now we are looking for there. Obviously, we can see that because I was doing it by salesperson. So no matter what I was going to do, it was going to be a different color for each one because it was just going off by the person's name. So of course, no matter what, it had to have 7 different shades of color. But as of this right now, it's going to measure, okay, whoever has the most money will be the darker color, and we'll get lighter from there. So now let me go back to green. As you see right now it completely changes type of colors. As you see right here, the lower it is, the lighter it gets. So now I'm going to go to green. Perfect. Apply that. There, that's exactly what I'm looking for. So no matter what, as we see here for the year, Mark made the most money. His shade of green is darker. David made the least amount. His is the lightest shade, and it works its way up. So we're good right there for the salespeople. From there, we have now monthly sales. So for monthly sales, here, so we're going to think like we have these charts here, which represent them properly. But I want to find trends. I want to see if I can notice anything different by month. So in a very similar format here, I got to find the month, which we have right here. You know what? I'm going to do like this. We're going to go order date. Now I want the month here. Perfect. And then I want the total price. Perfect. Perfect. So the reason why I did the order date of this is because by doing the month here, it would have been automatically abbreviated. And with this, I want to see the full month. I want to see it all nice and lined up right there, all good to go. Same thing here, though. We're going to make these changes really quickly. We could, of course, go in here and change that, but you're going to see something a little bit later, how we're going to have to do some duplicates, some copies, and you'll see why we're going to do that there. So we got that here. Same thing. It's going to be currency. We're good. Okay. So everything is good right here. And like I said, we don't need that because we know what we're working with. The thing is, though, I kind of want to have some labels. Like I want to see, for example, on each one, the exact number, the exact sales for each month. And I want to see it. Because looking at this right now, we could pick up on trends. But let's say the end user wants to know visually, just by looking at it right away as well, what was the sales per month. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to take the total price, go to label here, and there we go. So now we're showing that off right here. But like I said, once again, we have to go into format, change that to a currency, and there we go. So now, like I said, for each point, we know that, okay, January, the numbers are here, February there. And like I said, this is just a way that you could show trends, but also at the same time, right away, show it to someone because you never know who could be looking. What if this is used as a PowerPoint slide, for example, and you can't use this interactively? You need to be able to show the number quickly, but also show trends in the same way. To be able to show labels here is a pretty decent format. So that shows off the sales by the month. You see some trends, the label here. So we're all good with that. Now, the important thing though is, okay, so we see the trends, we see differences, but we also want to back it up with another way. Another way of doing that is showing percentages. So we move into the next one. We'll call it sales percent. Nothing crazy. I'm gonna do for sales percent. Same thing. We're gonna go order date. We're gonna go by the month. Then we're going to do total sales. But we're gonna do something different here. What I want to see is the difference in percent. I want to see the increase or decrease by the month. So I'm gonna do here, go down arrow. I'm gonna do a quick table calculation. And by choosing percent difference, we can see right there the difference between each month. Now, you're not getting January because this is based off 2020. There is no data for 2019, so there is nothing to base that off of. So in order to be with January, I'm not going to leave it there. I'm going to just take it and I'm going to hide it because we don't need that. There's no use for that. Same thing with the order date. We don't need that. We know what we're talking about here. But then, I kind of want to show this a little different. Like, we see the difference, right? But I want to kind of color code it. I want it to be like, okay, so if it was over 0%, I want it green. And if it's under 0% in negatives, I want it red. So let's go do that right now. So I'm going to take, control, drag that into the colors. And now what I want to do is kind of get in here. I want to get in here, edit that. And it's doing it based off 5 steps. So every 5, if they made up the way they are. So let's say negative 45 to negative 30 is one color and so forth. I only want it 2. I want only 2 steps. I want 2 colors. That's it. And I want this to be the middle. I want the center to be 0. So anything below 0 will be one color, which I will make, let's just go red like that. And then for anything above 0, let's go green. Let's apply that. There we go. So we see right here, showing off, okay, so looking at these months, so obviously there's 11 months there. So 4 of the months had a negative sales difference between month, and 7 of them increased. So it kind of gives a little different perspective on how the sales went throughout the year. Instead of looking at it through a graph, you kind of can see the percent difference right away, and you can match it up with the sales to really understand how much of a difference that really was. And it's just another way to show it off. So based on the questions we kind of answered them. We had the total sales, we had the items sold, the sales by city, we had the revenue by the salespeople, monthly sales, and the sales percent. So now there's only one thing left to do, and that is to put together all the information on a dashboard. This is the part where you get pretty creative. Like I said, we're going to make it very, very simple, nothing too drastic. The biggest thing is I always start off with fixed size, and I go always to the PowerPoint. That's just what I do. I kind of will go from there if needed, but I like to use that size. And like I said, if I don't need it to be this wide, I'll make it smaller. If I need more height, I'll change that. But I like to start here and go from there. The biggest thing too is I also like to use floating more than tiled. Like I said, just kind of go down to preference. But like I said, I always prefer to have total control over my dashboard. So what I want to do really quick is I want to give this a title right up here. And we're going to say the colors we're using are white and blue. Those are ones. I want to use a white text with a blue background. So let's get to it. I'm going to put out just a text box right here. I'm going to center it. And like I said, I like to use, and it just depends on the font. It doesn't really matter which one you use. I mean, of course, there's some that are more professional than others, but really, like, kind of find what sticks with you and go with it. There's never a wrong answer. I mean, obviously, I mean, come on, if you're using something like this, or like, come on, that's not right. But I mean, besides that, most of these are fine. So whatever clicks with you is good with, should be good with anybody. So I'm gonna give this a quick little title. I'm gonna put it. Let's go 24. I'm not gonna put in white yet because if I was to put in white, you're not gonna see it. So I'm gonna put it. I don't know. We're gonna go 2020 retail store sales dashboard. Keep it simple. And like I said, I feel like like I said, because I use this layout often, I kind of have a decent idea of where things should go. I like to leave a little bit of room on the sides. I'm gonna go 5 on the X, 0 on the Y. I'm thinking, okay, so 6, so it would be 5 on each side, which would be 10. 1600 minus 10, 1590. And then we'll go height of how does 45 look? We'll go 45. Now from here, I'm gonna make my background. Let's go with this little blue here. Good. And now I can change it to white text. And there we go. So here's my title. Nothing crazy, just it is what it is. Right to the point. So we have that. Now I want to think, okay, how do I want this to look? And this is something that you should kind of think before you get to this step. I recommend grabbing, like say, a piece of paper, writing down exactly how you want the dashboard to look, where do you want everything to be. Because if you go into it blindly, you're going to start throwing things around. And I mean, it might work sometimes, but there's other times that you're going to be making so many changes here and there that if you just took a minute or two to at least envision how you want to look, it will just help you so much more in the end. Now, obviously, with this data set not being too drastic, pretty simple, you could get away with it here. But once you start working with much more complex data and you're doing this with actual teams and that's work that's way more important, it's good to take that time to really plan out your dashboards. So from here, we're thinking what I want to do is I kind of want like the line. I want one graph here, and I want the 2 stacked here, and I want my KPIs up here. So what I'm going to start for first is getting the KPIs in there, which I have 2, which will be the total sales and the items sold. So let's get those in there right now. We're going to just drag them out. We don't need to worry about them right now. Just keep them the way they are. Don't need that much. Good. Okay, so what I like to do here is bring out a vertical. With this being floating, we're going to take these and we're going to put them right into here. Good. So obviously we want these to look a little bit better, right? We're in a nice little spot here, but of course we want to lay it out. So I'm trying to think, let's put these, so I went up to 50. So let's go 45. So actually, let's go 50. Okay, we'll see how that looks in a little bit. Then let's go 300, right? Okay, looks good. So I think 300. Let's go. How does that look? Good. Okay. And then let's go. Thinking ahead. Let's go 1. So 115 looks, let's see. Okay, so now what I want to do here is we're going to center that. And let's go with thinking 28. Okay. And we're going to switch that to entire view. Yes, perfect. Entire view, good. And we're going to format that. Let's make that a little darker. How's something like that look? Okay, that looks really good. Okay, it's a good size. So that looks good. But now I want to put that in the middle. Perfect. Yep, good. Now we're working here. Same thing here. Make that center. And like I said, this is going to be, once you make a couple of dashboards, you get a good idea of how you make them and how you want to put them together. There's nothing wrong with any way you do them, but it just will take some time to see what works for you, and that's really what's important. Is really what works for you, because obviously when you're doing some guide projects, or you're doing maybe your first project, second project, things might not look the same, or they might not come out the way you want it. But at the end of the day, it really just comes down to your preference. Because yes, they should be, looking informative the way you want it. However, it's your work. You can kind of do what you want with it. As long as it's hitting the questions correctly and it's keeping it, simple and informative, go with it. So right now, everything's set up. As we see right here, they are exactly the same size. We are good to go. And okay, so we have our KPIs. Now, kind of what I want to do though is I want them to stand out. I don't want them sitting out like this. I'm gonna put a border, make a blue border, and we'll put a little like the fourth one. Okay, I like that. So that looks good. So we'll go with that. I do want to make it just a slight more. Okay, good. So we'll go with that. So we have our KPIs. Now let's start putting our graphs up. So we go back. So we have this down. What I like too is that you kind of get to see what else you haven't used. So we have these 4 more sheets to use. Let's go. I want the percents right here. So let's put the percents here. Okay. And like I said, we don't need this. We don't need that. We can kind of already see how the red will indicate. So you see here, do you see the tooltip? Percent difference in total price from previous, a long table. That doesn't really doesn't make too much sense at all. So we're going to tooltip, and as you see, this will determine how people see it. So I'm going to leave percent difference in total price from the previous. I'm going to change that to sales because that's what we're looking for. I'm going to go with previous month. Perfect, yeah. Okay, that looks better. So now if someone's looking it over, they clearly could see what that percent actually means. So okay, that's better. Perfect. So going to the layout. So that went to 160. So let's go here. And same thing, I'm going to make that the same width as everything up here. So it stays along the same kind of guidelines we're looking for here. I want this to fit the width. Yep, there we go. Perfect. And for this, like I said, I'm going to center that. And we're just going to call this sales change by month. And like I said, you can put this however you want. I'm just putting this together to put it together. We're going to change that. Let's go 18. Like I said, I'm going to leave it for right now. I'm not going to put no background yet. I just want to make sure this is looking the way I want. So as of right now, that's fine. You know what? I'll go in there and change it. Put a little format title. We're going to put a background of blue. We're going to change that to white. Boy, that was bad. Good. Okay. So we have that. Now, obviously, we'll make some changes in a little bit, but for right now, it's looking fine. So now I want to show off the other charts. And my plan was to kind of the way I'm thinking, have a line chart here, because we kind of want to really see the trends here. And then the 2-bar chart stacked on top. So knowing that this 180, 110, I kind of want to go like 300 on the Y. That would look pretty, I think that'll be enough space. So let's do that first. Let's get this out here. Okay. Let's see how this will go. Will this be too close or anything? No, that actually looks pretty good. Same thing. Now I'm thinking, okay, so like I said, because I'm used to this size, I kind of get a decent aspect of where things should go. So, like I said, the midpoint of here would be 800 on the X. I do want this to be a little bit larger. I don't want the bar charts, because there's not too many bars in there. I don't want the bar charts getting too wide. It's not going to look that great. So let me push this out to, let's go that wide. Okay, I think that's going to be pretty good. And with that being 900, let's go 580. Let's see how that goes. Okay, that's pretty good, actually. So yeah, that's all good. And same thing here. We're going to format this to make sure put that in the middle. Make sure it's nice and consistent with everything else. That's me good. Let's put a little something back here. Change that text. And we're good there. Good. Okay. So the monthly sales right here. Everything looks pretty good to me. And now showing off the other 2 bar charts. And we're thinking, okay, so sales by city. Like I said, I kind of want to put the salespeople towards the bottom here. Nothing wrong with it. I just feel that the sales by city is a very important bar chart that we kind of want up here. So let's go ahead and do that. Same thing here. We don't need the color coding because there's only 4 cities. Same thing here. I'm going to line that up with the, here's around the same line. For the X, let's go, I think that should be good. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I don't want them too close to each other. So I think that'll be really good. Let's go 595. And I just want to make sure there's enough room for the next one. Okay, that should be good. Perfect, yeah. Here, we're going to format it. Like I said, there going to be times where it gets a little tedious with this. But at the same time, you have to understand that once you make like a couple or a few, especially when you get into your data role, you're going to keep it, consistent in a way. It could be a little consistent, a couple changes here or there, but it's really important to make sure you take your time and not just rush it to get it done. Like make sure it is exactly how you want it to look. So good, we have that. That's all done. And now the last one. Let's go to the dashboard. Put that here. Same thing, we don't need that. Let's go to the layout. Same thing, let's keep it consistent. Go 600. Yeah, looks good. 595. We don't want to touch in the bottom, so let's give it a little room. Perfect, good. Like I said, I like to keep things fairly organized on the same line here, if possible. It's not always a guarantee, but it's always good to do that. Same thing here. Going to go here. Put the same way. Here we go. Format, same color. Let's go make that white font. There we go. So we pretty much have our design set up. Turned out pretty good. I do though want to see if I could do this really quick. kind of want to add labels. Let's see, how does that look? Also, same thing. So we're gonna have to go back. I kind of want to see the labels because once again, I want people to be able to see it as well. So that's good. Oh, that's right, because we did make that change here. So we're gonna go back to the salesperson one. Go to label. And then let's make sure we get in here. Total price, format. Okay, there we go. There we go. Now we're good. Okay, so by looking at this right here, we're pretty much all set up. Like I said, we answered all the questions. We found the total sales. We found the items sold. We see the percent difference by month. We have the monthly sales showing the trends by month with its label. And then same thing by sales by city and the salesperson. So we can see here throughout the year what we're looking at. There's one last thing that I want to do. Because let's say someone is in Tableau and they kind of want to just focus on a specific month. Because let's say here, obviously we see how much is sold in January, February, March. But let's say they want to know by city or by the salespeople who, Mark had the most in the whole year. But what if Mark wasn't the highest in, let's say, March or April? Let's say there's something very specific they want to find. Or let's say they want to find out how many items were sold in 1 month. Or let's even say they want to look at a quarter. Let's say they want to look at Q1 and look at January, February, March. So let's add a filter here. Let's see if we could add. Yeah, I want to add filter the. I do want to do the month of order date. That's definitely what I want to do. Yes, there we go. Good. So I want to add a filter right here. Now I don't like it. I don't want to take up too much room. There's technically 13 options here. I don't want to take up all this room. So I'm going to put it as a multiple values drop down. That looks good. And I want to rename that just to months. And I want to put that there. I want to make it just slightly larger. Good. Okay. So that should be good. Let's make that. How's that? That's better. That's better. Put that right there too. Good. So that's lined up. And doesn't matter too much. Good. Okay. So now we have a filter for the month, and we want to make sure that they're applied to the right ones, because the biggest thing, like I said, is I don't want it affecting this. Because let's say I pick 1 month. This whole chart's going to look a little awkward. Same thing with the sales change by month. I just want to see here and these two. That's it. And like I said, you can kind of put them the way you want. But for me, I just want those changing. That's all I want them being filtered. So we're going to go in here and apply to worksheets. We're going to select the worksheets. So I want, yes, total sales. I want items sold. I want sales by city. And I want the salesperson. I guess we'll keep the salesperson. We'll keep that. That'll be fine. That will be useful in case you want to see a certain month. So we're going to click OK. And now let's test it out. So let's say you want to get rid of it all. So obviously we see they're all affected except for the monthly sales, which is fine. So let's say you want to look at the month of, let's look again. So we see Boston is at the top. Mark has the most. I kind of want to just see if there's certain months that are different. I'm curious. Okay, so looking at January, you see right here, Boston's the most, yes. San Diego had no sales. in January. So that could be one big aspect. And we see right here that Mark actually didn't come in first. He came in second for this one. Sarah came in first. And where did Sarah end up throughout the year? Sarah came in fourth. So if you really think about that, like that's 1975, and in January, like that's about like 30% of her sales came in January. And that could be reasons maybe she didn't stay on the whole year or something happened here and there. But that could be something to look at too. And we see here the items sold for that month as well. And let's say you want to look at, I don't know, Q1. You want to look at the difference of the first 3 months, right? We can see here that Mark, yes, he's there. Sarah's there. Boston, San Diego's way at the bottom. So you kind of get a good idea of how things looked. What were the complete sales of those 3 months? Items sold. And I think right there is a helpful filter. It gives you the information that you're looking for, information that you need. And right from there, we're done. I mean, it looks fine to me. Everything's labeled, and of course, you can make changes to like I said, the font. You can make certain colors different. Change the numbers. You can change this. You can change pretty much anything on here, and that's a great thing about having this dashboard is it's able for you to make the changes. I always believe, like I said, the guided projects are important, but also it's just to give an idea of what it can look like. Your job is to follow along, but make changes if needed. If you see there's something you want to do different, go for it. You want the colors to be different, do that. You want to change how it's really, you want to put the filter over here. You can do whatever you want. That's a great thing about this. So this is the dashboard and it's all set up. And yeah, we are all good. And make sure, like I said, this is all done in Tableau Public. And great thing about this too is when you're done, make sure to go up to File and Save. I also recommend saving this as you go too, just because you never know. You don't want to work on this for a while and then all of a sudden forget to click save. So make sure you're saving every once in a while. Make sure your progress is all good. And yeah, we are all good here. So like I said, if you have any questions, you could always feel free to contact me with anything. And I'd really like to see you guys put this together. You put the way however you want. You want to do it the same way, go for it. Put it your way, like I said before. Do it your way. And feel free to tag me on LinkedIn with what you got. Yeah, appreciate it, guys. And thanks so much for stopping by and giving me your time of day. Thanks, guys.